how blessed you are, Israel. The whole world is working today except you. You know how many Jewish people are on Wall Street today? Moneying their market and marketing their money? Just because you're Jewish doesn't mean you obey Yahweh. I know what it's like to be Jewish and disobey Yahweh. Vayikra 23:36. 7 days you shall offer an offering made by fire to Yahweh. Meaning you always come. Technically we should pass the pushki every day during Sukkot. Technically. Zechariah maybe next year. Because every day you're supposed to give Yahweh an offering. Now if you don't have any money, there are a few people that don't have any money. Not too many. There are a few. You still give Yahweh an offering. Your skills, your cooking, your time. These are the Moedim of Yahweh which you shall proclaim to be Mikra Kodashim. To offer an offering made by fire to Yahweh. And then we go to verse 39. On the 15th day of the 7th month, when you have gathered in the fruit of the land, you shall celebrate a Chag to Yahweh. 7 days. On the first day shall be a Shabbaton, and on the 8th day shall be a Shabbaton. What day is today? Today is the 8th day after the Feast of Sukkot, a closing assembly. A Shabbaton. And you shall take on the first day the boughs of Tov Eitzim, the branches of palm Eitzim, the boughs of thick Eitzim, and the willows of the brook. And you shall simcha before Yahweh your Elohim 7 days. And you shall celebrate it as a Chag to Yahweh 7 days. So Rivka said to me earlier this morning, so what do we say today? Chag Sameach? I said, well, technically no. Technically the Chag is over. But I don't want to burst your bubble, so go ahead and just go ahead. Chag Sameach. Technically though, it's not a Chag. The Chag is 7 days. And you shall celebrate it as a Chag to Yahweh 7 days in the year. It shall be a Chuk Leolam Boed. In your generations, you shall celebrate it in the 7th month. You shall dwell in Sukkot 7 days. All who are native Israelites shall dwell in Sukkot. That your generation in the blood of Yeshua made you a native. That the generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in Sukkot. When I brought them out of the land of Mitzrayim, I am Yahweh, your Elohim. Today we pause and we meditate on what it means to enter the 8th day. The 8th day of Sukkot is really not part of Sukkot. It is the 8th day attached to the 7 days of Chag Sukkot. And the word of Yahweh says, in Bamidbar 29, I believe it is, that not only we are to have a Shabbaton on the 8th day, but I believe in Bamidbar 29, and I don't feel like turning there, it says you shall have a solemn assembly. Now for 7 days Yahweh told us to rejoice in our Chag, and then he turns around on the 8th day and he says it is a closing ceremony, it's not part of the Chag, P.S. it's solemn. Why would the celebration of eternity and life even after the Atid Lavo, why would that be solemn? Meaning what? Sober? Serious? Why? Because, brothers and sisters, the levity of those who won't make it to the 8th day. Yahweh says, you're going to make it to eternity, but I want you to remember the levity of those who will not make it with you into the mansions of the 8th day. So while we celebrate our Chag, we also remember in this closing assembly that what we will inherit, not everybody will inherit. Are we on? And that's why Yahweh says in Bamidbar 29, it's not just a closing assembly, it's a solemn assembly, because not everybody will be where we are. Not everybody loves the blood and follows the Torah and is an obedient child and daughter of Yahweh. And so in all the celebration of the Chag and the celebration of our eternal destiny with Yahweh forever in the New Yerushalayim, symbolic of the 8th day, which is separate from the 7th day, And yet we are solemn, remembering that not many are going to go into the 8th day with us. Notice. Thank you. There were some young amens. Young amens. It is a day of Shabbaton, no work. And do you know there are people working today? Did you know that? If I were to name names, you'd go, no! Yes! No! Because the commandment somehow does not apply to them. Somehow, Yahweh doesn't understand that they may lose their job. Thank you, brother. That's right. Meaning there's no excuse. That's right. So, but we don't want to embarrass or condemn anybody, but I've never understood it. I've never, not since I came into Torah, I've never understood. I've never met yet a legitimate excuse for not obeying Yahweh's Chukim and Mishpatim. But the 8th day is separate from the 7 days of Sukkot. It is the remaining in Yerushalayim, like pilgrims during the Shalosh Regalim, for one extra day. Yahweh, in other words, the feast is over. In the ancient times, according to Devarim chapter 16, how many times a year were we to go to Yerushalayim personally in the Shalosh Regalim, in the foot festivals? How many times? 3 times a year. Why are they called the Ascension Feast, or in Hebrew, the Shalosh Regalim? Because you were supposed to take your raglayim, eso mi raglayim, and you were supposed to make aliyah, or ascend, to the Temple Mount 3 times a year. And thus, Yahweh said, now look, don't go home yet. Please, please stay with me. That's what Shmini Atzeret is all about. It's not just getting into the millennial kingdom. It's Yahweh saying, please stay with me more. Please have, as they say in seminary, please koinonia with me. Have the fellowshipy with me. Stay with me. Do you understand what's going on Shmini Atzeret? It's Yahweh, the King of the universe, begging you, his bride, to stay with him a little while longer before you return home.
Hallelujah.
Symbolic of eternity with Yahweh. Can I hear a good amen?
Amen.
If you won't give me a free will amen, then I'll just come and make you shout.
Hallelujah.
Shout it out.
Hallelujah.
Yahweh is in essence saying, look guys, I know the Chag is over, but please, I've enjoyed the 7 days of tabernacling with you, getting you out of your comfort zone and out into the wilderness. And would to Yahweh that I could get out of my comfort zone, but I have nowhere to hook up my breathing machine. So if I were to celebrate Sukkot like some of you in the tent, I'd be dead. That's the bad news. The good news is you need a new rabbi. Or double bad news, double bad news depending on your point of view. So I could torture myself and stay in the sukkah, but without my breathing machine, I would wind up where Reggie White wound up. Prematurely, early with Yeshua. So I don't plan on torturing myself in order to get other people to stop talking about me.
Tell them, Rabbi.
Go ahead, talk all you want to. You think I don't know what's going on? I'm in your bedroom, darling. If I've got the spirit of Yahweh, I can tell you stuff about you, you blow you away. You never knew. I know where you go, why you go, who's going, who's hanging out with whom. No, I know the whole deal. Not that I'm brilliant, but Yahweh gives me favor. Anyway, it's all about Yahweh anyway. Yahweh is saying, look, Yahweh is saying, hey, stay an extra day, stay with me. Don't go home yet. Stay in Yerushalayim, just like you will for eternity. Stay in Yerushalayim. And let's you and I make a small personal banquet so I can enjoy your exclusive company. The sages teach us that Shmini Atzeret is like Yahweh clearing out the crowd. All the crowds who are doing their religious duty are running home, But those who want to have special intimacy with Yahweh, Yahweh makes a special table with a little roses and a little red wine, and he has a little personal dinner, a romantic, that's right, go ahead, a little romantic dinner with you, and it's just you and Yahweh, and Yahweh says, please stay with me. I know hubby's working, I know kids are mashugana, I know, but look now, you, please, stay with me. In a romantic, intimate setting. This is likened to a king who orders his servants to make a great banquet. When the great banquet comes to an end, he asks his dearest friends to arrange a small intimate meal where he, the king, can enjoy their intimate company. So too, following the offering of the nations. How many bulls? You heard that last night on the radio and in the sukkah yesterday. 70 bulls, symbolic of the 70 nations of Bereshit chapter 10. So when Yahweh has received and is full of the offering of the nations, he is looking for a remnant, his bride, to linger just a little longer before going home. Many brethren have had 7 days of Sukkot, but there's a remnant here today that can't get enough of the Moadim of Yahweh, and they want to stay with you. And you answered Yahweh's call when he says, please stay with me just one more day.
Amen.
The nations, the offering of the nations have been offered. The 70 bulls for the 70 nations of Genesis 10. The 70 languages. And Yahweh says, look, I know everybody's going home right now, but can you have a banquet prepared for you? Can you stay with me just one more day? That separates Yahweh's bride from Yahweh's multitudes. Yeshua's bride went up the mountain and sat at his feet. The multitudes came for the meatloaf and the white castles. Bad parable, bad allegory, you get the point. The multitudes came for the loaves and the fishes. The Talmidim sat at his feet saying, and we saw that in Yochanan chapter 20, when Yeshua was about to ascend back to the Father. And the Talmidim said, Master, the night is far spent. Can you stay with us just a little bit longer? His mission on earth was accomplished, but they longed for more intimacy with their heavenly. I'm saying something to somebody. If you're waiting for your wife to meet your needs, you are either ill-educated or on drugs. Or if you're waiting for your husband to meet your needs. The reason I have a healthy marriage is not because I've been to counseling for 10 years. Even though I've been to counseling for about 5. The reason is I have no expectations. I've learned, and Rivka has learned, that we rely on Yahweh to meet our needs.
Hallelujah.
And if we try to have expectations for each other, you're destined to let each other down. And you will let each other down. So if you have no expectations, a bowl of soup, a can of tuna, a good night of intimacy, it's a bonus, it's gravy, but I don't expect it. Our expectation. I will look up unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from Yahweh, maker of heaven and earth. Go ahead and be quiet, see if I can.
Hallelujah.
I'm getting paid anyway. So following the offering of the nations, Yahweh is longing for a company of his own bride that will linger with him one extra day. A day is as 1,000 years, 2 Kepha 3:18, Kepha Bet. A day is as 1,000 years. So when Yahweh says, linger with me one more day, I have a special romantic dinner, a special romantic banquet prepared for you. Those who keep this extra day, the 8th day, are signifying that they want to be with Yahweh, and they want to not just do their religious duty of 7 days in Yerushalayim, they're willing to stay with the king even when they don't have to stay with the king. I get a question from a lot of new members who come to the Miami Beach Israel Revival. How often should I come to synagogue? Ready? every time the door opens. If that door opens and you're not here, then you've lost that free will love offering for Yahweh to be with, even though everybody else isn't here. Because they had to keep the 7 days of the Chag. But the 8th day is like a special believer who wants to be with the bridegroom and his king as long as he can. They are declaring that by staying one extra day, they are declaring that when the millennial, the Atid Lavo, is over, I will be with Yahweh forever, because of the 8th day, there is no end. We heard that before. Of the 8th day, there is no end. Now I'm going to get to this in the Epistle of Barnabas, in one of the future Wednesday night yeshivas. I hope all of you are listening on Wednesday night, even though I know some of you are not. We're going to get to something in the Epistle of Barnabas that's going to blow you away. I have the definite proof. Turn to your neighbor and say, definite proof.
Definite proof.
And if you have a copy of Barnabas, you've got that same proof. I've got the definite proof that the early Talmidim could never change the Shabbat to Yom Rishon, to Sunday. You know how I know? Because the early believers, to stay away from the trap of Greco-Roman Sunday worship, you know what they would do? They would celebrate Shabbat as Shabbat. Wow, what a revelation. They would skip the first day. Now hear me good.